Rough weekend for the Warriors. Golden State was blown out by the Lakers on Saturday night, and on Sunday it was announced that Steph Curry will miss at least the next 5 games as he continues to battle that right knee issue. So, Wendy, when should the Warriors consider shutting down Curry completely?
You know, I don't have every piece of information about this injury. I don't think they're going to. I think he might even have tried to play through it more if Jimmy Butler hadn't gotten hurt. He was trying to limp his way through it. And if you look at the standings, what's basically happened is the Warriors have been trapped in the play-in. It's very unlikely they're going to be able to rise out of it. And there's so many tanking teams in the West that they're protected on the bottom end. So the only chance they have is doing anything this season anyway is getting Steph back. So I think, I hate to say it's a luxury because they're in 8th place, but they kind of have the luxury of allowing more time and not hurting them in the standings. Obviously, if he doesn't feel better in a couple of weeks, it's a different situation. But I honestly think that they're just looking at the standings and making a value judgment and holding him out now because it's not going to hurt him.
I agree with you because it's not going to hurt him but so much. And obviously, it's one of those situations where you want to preserve Curry for as much as you possibly can. That I will say, Wendy, you listen. If you're Joe Laker with the money that you spent over the years, you certainly want him there when it counts. You want to get a playoff series. You want to get some extra dough. You want to be relevant for a longer period of time. And this brother is absolutely box office. He's incredible for the brand, not just the Warriors, but overall the NBA. You know, watching the Lakers against the Warriors the other night, the minute you saw that Steph Curry wasn't going to be in the game, you're like, there was a deflation that kicked in because the babyface assassin was not going to be playing. And certainly you want to see him, but in the same breath, you want to give him as much rest as you possibly can while positioning yourself to at least be a participant in the play-in tournament if you can pull that off. That's what you're after right now. That's what they're aiming for, and I don't blame them one bit because you want to do everything you can to preserve him to make sure he's on the court as healthy as he can possibly be, but most importantly, he's on the court. You want him on the court. You don't want him sitting out for the rest of the season and telling folks look forward to next year because you talk about a deflation that will automatically kick in the Bay Area. I mean, he is it. Without him, there really is no reason to pay attention to the Warriors whatsoever.
So the 2022-2023 season was the last time the Warriors were not in the play-in and made the playoffs, and they were the 6th seed then. Like, at some point, are we concerned with what's happening with the Warriors here, that they aren't a top 5 team in the West anymore, considering all the injuries and everything else? Well, Wendy or Steven?
Because of the injuries, you're not. It's because of the injuries that you're not. If they were not hurt and they were looking like this, just a couple of games above 500, then you would be concerned. But injuries happen, and injuries are going to derail you. What's Milwaukee without Giannis? What would the Knicks be without Brunson? What would Minnesota be without Ant-Man, etc.? When you have injuries, I mean, injuries are a part of the game, and you don't expect your best players to be out and you still be the same. But if they were on the court healthy and you were losing games, that would be an entirely different matter altogether.
Wendy.
Steve Kerr said it best. He said they're a fading dynasty. That's an accurate assessment. It may have felt a little harsh, but it was true. And what you're hoping for is some last gasps of it. And if you're Golden State, you're hoping to get him healthy at the right moment. You're hoping to get Kristaps Porzingis and catch lightning in a bottle. That's just an honest way to look at it.
Doncic, slips. It looks he's all right, and he is. Stumbles, gets back up, and this goes in. It goes in!
Driving right. Oh, he falls down. Got back up. Kept his dribble. Throws up a 3. Good again. A circus shot by Luka after he'd fallen down, kept his dribble, and just threw it at the basket, and it went in for 3.
So Luka Doncic led the Lakers to their 2nd straight win last night, finishing with 28 points, 9 dimes, 5 boards, and LA's 128-104 win over the Kings. Now, despite the strong performance, Luka's play has come under fire recently, leading to Draymond Green entering the chat on his podcast to call out those who were critical of Nico Harrison for making the Doncic trade with the Mavericks. So listen.
So many people crushed Nico Harrison for the reasons that he gave. And when Nico gave those reasonings, everybody said he's ridiculous, he's crazy. But now when I turn on the TV, all I see is everybody in the media who crushed Nico Harrison, who essentially aided in him getting fired, regurgitating the same things that Nico Harrison was saying. And I struggle with that because I haven't seen one person come out and say, hey, Nico, I'm sorry for the things I said about you when you made that move. because I just said the same thing out of my mouth. This has nothing to do with Luka Doncic and everything to do with the media and Nico Harrison. Nico gave his reasonings as the general manager of a team of why he thought that was the right move. And everybody said, you're an idiot. You should be fired.
Well as you can, handling somebody like Kawhi Leonard. I think when Draymond's minutes were mirroring Kawhi, he likes that assignment. He wants to throw him down. But it was everybody else for the Clippers that helped beat the Warriors tonight. If you look at role players versus role players, well, the Clippers succeeded.
We're going to continue this conversation as we get to the crossover right now. We get out to Jenny, Natalie, and Cheryl to discuss this game a little bit more. And Cheryl, I always think a team needs to take away lessons from a loss like this, in which they led by 14 at the half. What's the lesson for the Warriors in the second half of this game?
The Warriors reminded me of someone who looks in the mirror and walks away and forgot what they look like. They forgot what they look like. That's exactly what happened. They were defensively, they got after it, like you guys said. They really flexed their muscle. They were swarming. In the second half, it was almost like they had dead legs, and forgot the game plan.
Agreed.
I've been learning from coach. I've been learning from coach. See, it rubs off. It rubs off.
No, I agreed. What I saw was I saw that the LA Clippers weren't shooting the three ball very well in the first half, and what I noticed is they had 62 paint points compared to the Warriors 36, wow. And so I felt like T-Lue, found ways to generate more paint points than them. When it's not falling, I think they were finding the answers how to get that get to the rim.
That's why you're coach of the year.
That's
why you're coach of the year.
No, you saw it, and I went off of it.
Both of you are quick studies. Clearly, very much so. Quick studies. I just really want to ask Coach Nakase, in the moments where your team does fall apart and it's a game of two halves, and they're not executing the game plan that they were clearly executing in the first, what's the message for the next game to get them back to a position where they look in the mirror and they recognize, hold on, we can play defense well. We can contain amazing scorers like Kawhi and Benedict Mathurin and Darius Garland as a distributor. What's that message to them?
Yeah, on to the next. I mean, they still came out, fighting. Like, they had good fight. It's just they didn't shoot well, in the third quarter and the fourth quarter. And that happens. If the shot doesn't fall, it's okay. But, stay focused on controlling the controllables. I thought they got great second chance points. They fought really hard. But then it's like, it's on to the next already. You still encourage them. I thought they played well. But, who's the next opponent? Let's go after them. Let's go fight as hard as we can.
But you guys made an excellent point. Who is that go-to bucket for the Warriors?
So with that in mind, I mean, Cheryl, when you're talking about looking in the mirror, this is such an opportunity for the role players right now. When the Warriors have lost their identity because it was Steph,
first of all, let's drop the role. They're no longer role players. That's dead and gone. Now they've got to fill those shoes. So who's going to step up and be that bucket? They don't have to be buckets, but they have to be a bucket player.
I got you. You're talking about 40. You're talking between Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry, 47 points a night you need to make up, right? 47 points a night. Keith Santos obviously didn't start tonight. Yeah. He came off the bench, but just putting up 5 for him. So, yeah, it's finding those guys, finding that rhythm. I thought it was going to be Podziemski's night, right? You thought he was going to have a career high tonight, at least a season high. He was well on his way to it, knocking on the door, and only able to get 1 bucket in the second half.
And Pat Spencer was quiet, was he not?
Yes. Yep.
It happens. Defenses adjust, especially when you take that level of a spotlight. They adjust, and we didn't see the Warriors find another option, another vessel. But thank you guys so much for breaking down the game. It was so much fun listening to you all. Anytime I get the chance to hear Natalie Nakase get into the mind of the players, what she's, execution, what players are trying to set up out on the floor, it's really special because it's rare that a coach gives her secrets. And Natalie Nakase is someone that keeps her execution. I mean, even her coach's retreat, she kept that to the chest of what was going on.
I think she was still trying to do it tonight.
I see.
Cheryl's having to press her a little bit.
Exactly.
You can't give away the secrets.
The combination of the two of them was really, really special.
This game, though, we got to talk about the importance of this game because now the Clippers have a 2-1 lead in the season series. These teams will face each other in the regular season finale. If the Clippers win, it's a 2-2 series, but they have the tiebreaker. So when we're talking about the importance of this game for the Warriors, too, the Clippers are looking at the same thing. This month, the month of March, they have 11 games against the bottom 9 teams in the league. They want to move up. They see who's ahead of them. It's the Warriors, and they made the adjustments in the second half to win.
1,000%. The Warriors had an opportunity tonight, and they just fell apart at the end.
I hope you were just going to say, like, agreed. Like Natalie McCausey, agreed.
Well, we're going to start with the good before we get to the ugly.
Fading dynasty. Oh, nah. We're not just gonna let that slide like that. Did y'all hear what was said on national TV? Did you actually sit there and process it? Because I had to rewind it twice. They looked straight into the camera and said the Golden State Warriors are a fading dynasty. A fading dynasty? Oh man, that hits different. Let's slow this down for a second. Yes, Steph is hurt. Yes, they got blown out by the Lakers. Yes, they're stuck in the play-in zone. We're not denying reality here. But there's a difference between struggling and being finished. And that's where the line got crossed. When they started talking about shutting Steph down completely, that's when I leaned forward in my chair. Completely? As in wave the white flag? As in see you next year? That's crazy. That's not competitive. That's not Warriors basketball. And here's the part that really irritated me. Without Steph, there's no reason to pay attention to the Warriors. I get the business angle. Steph is box office, he's ratings, he's global. But to say there's no reason to watch? What about the young guys fighting for contracts? What about the development? What about the culture? This franchise didn't become a dynasty by folding the moment adversity showed up. Now let's talk about this fading dynasty label. That's a heavy phrase. That's legacy talk. That's history book talk. And yeah, dynasties don't last forever. We know that. The league evolves, the West is brutal. But fading doesn't mean erased. It doesn't mean irrelevant. It doesn't mean dangerous days are over. Here's the truth nobody wants to say out loud. The Warriors' entire ceiling depends on Steph's health. Period. That's not weakness, that's reality. He's the engine, the gravity, the chaos creator. But if he comes back healthy at the right time, if they get even a little rhythm heading into the postseason, you really want to see Steph Curry in a one-game elimination scenario? You sure about that? Because I don't think teams want that smoke. They said Golden State is trapped in the play-in. Maybe, but trapped doesn't mean doomed. It means you're still breathing. It means you're still in the fight. And this organization has proven before that when people start writing obituaries, that's when they respond. Remember 2022? Too small, too old, window closed. And then what happened? Banner. So when I hear fading dynasty, I hear doubt. I hear impatience. I hear national media fatigue. But what I don't hear is finality. Because as long as number 30 is lacing them up, the story isn't done being written. Now I'll ask you this. Are we witnessing the final chapter or just the middle of a messy plot twist? Is this decline or is this transition? Drop your honest take in the comments. Are the Warriors fading or are they being counted out too early again? If you're riding with this team through every injury report, every hot take, every overreaction headline, hit that like button and subscribe. Because one thing I know about this franchise, they've heard it's over before, and it didn't end the way people expected.